Welcome to this video. I'm going to show two things in this video. First is how to set up a Cloud9 instance if you want to use Amazon AWS. And the second thing, I'll show you how to set up your SSH keys, and that'll work both for Cloud9 and if you're using your own computer. So first, after we log in, we can go up here and search for Cloud9. And that'll get us to here where we can create a Cloud9 environment and just give this some name. And you can decide on your description. Now here you're going to want to make a choice. This is a smaller instance that won't cost as much. That is if you don't have a free tier. If you just signed up for a new Amazon account, you have 12 months of free access. So you can probably upgrade to this small instance, and you'll probably need this if you're going to do any Ruby on Rails development. Whereas if you're just doing C++, then this micro instance should be good. Now you don't want Amazon Linux, so we'll select Ubuntu, or at least I'll show you how to do stuff using Ubuntu instead of Amazon. And then all the other options are fine. Now after it's been created, you hopefully will land on this screen and you can just click right here to open. And from now on, when you search Cloud9, it'll bring you to here where you can open your Cloud9 instance. Now, it might take a while, or a couple of minutes to get to here, especially if you just created the first instance. But over here, we have a file browser. Up here, we have an editor that's pretty nice. And then down here, we have a terminal window. So now I'm going to show you how to set up your SSH keys so that you can make commits and push them up to GitHub. What SSH keys do is they allow you to connect to another machine over the internet over what's called a secure shell. So what basically it means that your terminal is now running on a machine somewhere else, not your local machine. And you could use a password for that, but passwords aren't very secure. So SSH keys are a lot more secure way of SSHing to a new machine. So to do that, you click on your profile and you click here to settings. From settings, you got SSH keys and GPG keys. And up here, you have a list of some SSH keys that you might already have added. And there's also a guide that you can follow right here, but I'll walk you through the steps. Now, you can read through this, but you can also check for existing SSH keys on your machine if you want to, or you can generate a new SSH key. Now, it'll talk about a passphrase. This is a password that you need to remember. If you forget this password, the key's gone, and you'll just have to generate a new key. And then they show you how to generate a new key with this command right here. And so you just paste this in here. We're using a newer encryption algorithm right here. And then we just need to replace this with your email and press enter to generate this key. We can just press enter to generate in the default spot. And now here's your passphrase. Now you could just use an empty passphrase, or you could come up with a password. That's in case someone steals your SSH key, then they have to know the passphrase to use it. So you can come up with a passphrase, and then it will generate an SSH key. Now from here, we need to copy that SSH key. So we can run the command cat, and then the tilde means our home directory, and then .ssh folder. Then we got the ID, ED, and the number of the key. Now, if I just press enter, that's my private key. And that's what I don't want to share with anybody. And then here is the public key file. And it's just this little string, and you can see that it has your email at the end. So we go ahead and copy that. Then going back to your settings, you add this new SSH key, and you might want to give it a title like your Cloud9, and go ahead and paste it in. And add the key. And now you should see your new key added in. And that's what I did in this step right here. Now you might want to test your SSH key. So all we have to do is run this command on our command line. And the first time we run it, we'll ask us to make sure that we know that we're connecting to GitHub. We see that it says you've successfully authenticated, but GitHub does not provide shell access. So we are able to SSH GitHub, but they're not going to give us a shell to run commands on their server, but they will allow us to push and pull Git commits.